Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Heroes Hype Live, the Heroes of the Storm podcast, where we talk about community news, anything that's happening in community, and esports. I am Maybe Buzz, and I am your host. And joining me this week, like always, is my co-host Grizz. How are you, Grizz?
I'm doing fantastic.
Awesome. You've had like a busy week a little bit this week, huh?
Yeah, it's been a little hectic, but things are going good now. And just to give you a heads up, that is not Ether down below us, even though we do not have couldn't get a last minute overlay made, but that is Hayyoo going to be joining us for the podcast as well.
Hey guys.
Hi, Heyo. Can we get a quick Heyo?
There we go. Perfect.
It doesn't feel like a Heyo introduction unless we're, walking down the street screaming Heyo, right?
Yeah, I would have to agree with that.
It isn't quite the same. It isn't the same unless we get that.
So, Heyo, why don't you tell everybody, the viewers, a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so hey everyone, I'm a support main in the amateur scene for Heroes of the Storm. I'm also a Twitch affiliate streamer and just a kind of a full-time all thing esports. Right now I'm really just focused with my team on qualifying for the HGC through the Open Cups. We had a pretty good showing last night against Held It Down or Hold It Down, however you want to say it. But we had a pretty good showing, but didn't get the win through that series, but we saw a lot of good things, and I'm excited to just keep working hard and seeing what we can do.
You guys had, I would say, one of the most entertaining series of yesterday. That game one against Held It Down was amazing. I just sat there like watching, like screaming at my computer screen because it was like the epitome, really, I think, of like amateur Heroes of the Storm, right? Like that's a really amazing team, and you guys are like an amateur team that have been around for a long time and have been like putting in all the hard work that it takes. And to watch you guys like, that was like a 23-minute game, right? That was even, like, levels were even, XP was even, like you guys were taking into the advantages that we can get them. And like, can I just say the Grizz panda play? There's like that one panda, you lived forever. Like no one knows how you lived that long through that. Like you gave your whole team, you're just doing panda things.
I mean, that was, I can't really take any of the credit for that. My team played insane that game, so I mean, looking forward, it's pretty bright, I would say.
Yeah, that's exciting. Okay, so I don't know, anyone else do anything fun? Did you guys do anything fun this week, non-Heroes related?
Actually been playing quite a bit of golf. been taking up some leisure time. I've like, one thing I would highly recommend for anyone that's trying to break into the scene as well is to kind of find that game life work balance. People are always like, you can't have a social life, work, and do esports, but there's enough time in the day, I think, to get it all done. So I think that's extremely important, is to kind of get out there, make sure you're doing some things that you also enjoy. Obviously, we all enjoy playing gaming if that's what you would like to do, and you're trying to do that competitively. But I really do feel like you have to kind of mix it up for your own mental and physical health. It's a little refreshing to get away from the game, and I think it does actually improve your play to like have a really good balance in your life.
Mm-hmm. Something to like you can give yourself that isn't esports.
Yeah. Find that other hobby and spend some time doing that as well.
Mine's reality TV.
Do you have anything, Hayo, that you like doing outside of gaming that you really enjoy?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I play soccer recreationally. Had a couple of rec leagues that I played in here. Hopefully I'll be able to pick that up again once I kind of settle down. Right now I'm in the process of moving. So I got basically this week, which is a crazy busy HGC week, lined up with moving out of my apartment. But hopefully we'll end up in Southern California soon and be able to pick up soccer again. But also I have a very needy pug, so I get plenty of outdoors times with him. So
who has the best name? Your pug has the best name, I think.
Picard has a pretty good name. I'd say so.
It's pretty cute. But I just kind of want to touch on that. I think it's interesting that so many people in esports enjoy traditional sports too. Like you're saying golf, you're saying soccer. I love football. Like it's definitely, I feel like people that are competitive in spirit
Yep.
like competition.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Like that was the thing that drove me into esports, was like I found that I couldn't play games like at a leisure. Like I really don't enjoy playing story based games unless it's like really good. I
Mm-hmm.
I would say like some of those was like God of War was a really good one. Like Prince of Persia, like those type of like really actiony games, but I couldn't play any online game for leisure. Like I had to try to get better, and so that competitive nature I think is what drives a lot of people.
Yeah. Which is cool. It means that everyone pushes each other to get farther. So that's
Mm-hmm.
awesome, I think. All right. So we have just a few pieces of news that I want to talk about today, kind of stuff that's happened pretty recently, definitely since the last time we talked. The first one is it actually just got announced today is that Blizzard, Heroes of the Storm, HGC have joined up with Twitch, and there's going to be a new HGC cheer option. So it's integrated with bits, and there's two sort of aspects to this. First is like the personal aspect. You can, every time you get these bits and pick your team, I believe you sort of earn points yourself, and that unlocks different banners and sprays, I think, also, and mounts for you. And then there's also sort of a broader community sort of ladder where it doesn't matter who contributes to it, but any bits sort of go to a community ladder, and it opens up rewards for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because it's working with the teams, right? So the teams actually earn some of the revenue from these bits.
Yeah, that was really interesting. I think it's a really good move. Obviously, it's something that the community's been asking for a while. It's actually something that on one of the last episodes when we had Haloran on, we talked about. We were talking about kind of ways to support the teams and show some love there. And now you have it. I think it's a very interesting way to do it. I was expecting obviously an in-game kind of source to get that with, the in-game currency.
Right.
But I think partnering with Twitch hopefully will also get Twitch to promote the game more. Like it'll get on the front page more, things like that. So when a game is partnered with Twitch, you would assume that they are going to, Twitch will push harder on their end for that game. So I think it is a really good thing. I mean, hey, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, for me as a player, I mean, it's exciting to see more ways for teams and organizations to I don't know what that echo is in the background, but yeah, essentially when I see ways for teams to get more invested into the scene, whether it's through just ways for fans to support the teams that they being able to rep Tempo Store gear in game, is something that honestly can help out quite a bit. Especially for me as a player, if I see that other teams are now going to be sponsored by an org, if I see more sponsors coming into the scene, that leads me to have like a more exciting chance at, catching the dream of becoming a pro player in the HGC, potentially having some additional salary to help out alongside what Blizzard is offering. So I really like it. I think this is a good way to approach it. I think they're trying to see how far they can leverage bits. It's kind of just been sort of a niche thing that you see in some of the popular streamers. Yeah, I'm ecstatic for it. Can't complain about more money.
I think Hayyoo brought up, kind of touched on a good point too, which is there's a little bit of an incentivization for orgs now to get into HOTS, because here's this other revenue source. It means their players can be supported a little bit more, which I think that orgs have to be interested in, because there's still a few teams that haven't been picked up. Still a few decent teams actually. Like No Tomorrow doesn't have a sponsor. Like they could definitely be picked up. We'll see like after the second Crucible what happens. So like maybe raising that awareness for orgs that are hesitant to get into HOTS, that Blizzard is like really mindful of that sort of like monetization and like the ROI that needs to happen. I think it shows like good forethought, and hopefully it'll attract a few more orgs into HOTS, because having items in game with your logo I think is something that orgs can get behind.
Yeah, that is a great way to advertise as well. And I'm interested to see how the actual like cheering thing's going to work on how you cheer for specific teams. But
Mhm.
I'm assuming it'll be a little bit more flashy than just a traditional little, shout out in chat. So that could also be, incentivized a little bit to get this big old, whether it's tempo or something like that, kind of flashing in chat as well. So I think it should be good for the competitive scene. I'm interested to see how it works in practice. Everything in theory is pretty good. Its actual application, we'll see how effective it is.
Yeah. Well, looking forward to that then. The other new news is there was a new hero reveal. Ooh. It was I can't even say that wrong. Garrosh. And it's another World of
Garrosh.
Warcraft Garrosh. Yeah, I feel like I should say that right.
Garrosh.
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 It's a World of Warcraft. It's an orc. We have lots of orcs now.
You can get the full orc team going now.
Now officially, right?
The orc boys are in full effect.
That's gonna happen.
The smork
I somehow
draft.
see it.
I didn't actually. I need to give that a gander right now because did they announce like his abilities and stuff like that as well? Am I just in the dark right now, or did they just release the hero itself, like the model and stuff?
I am gonna also say that I'm a little bit ignorant. I watched like the video, but I didn't really do that much. It's not a hero I would play, so I feel like I'm not interested.
Yeah, there's a speculation video out, so he's obviously not. He's obviously not. His abilities haven't been revealed and stuff. If there's a speculation video that came out a day ago.
I wish that they would, when they release the hero. I mean, they do that. There's always like the hero trailer that's like Garrosh Hellscream, and like gives like the background. It's that guy, the voiceover guy that they always use for everything, and they go over everything. So yeah, I definitely want to see what that's going to be like. And then with that sort of announcement, there's a lot of speculation on what the next heroes were going to be. And the two that I saw most frequently is Anna and Junkrat is what people think is coming next.
I don't know how Junkrat, like how well you could incorporate Junkrat since his auto would be really weird. Like his auto attack would be... I guess
it's like a splat. I mean, I guess it's like Zarya though. His auto attack, right?
I think they would have to do it where his auto's something different, and they did it like Zarya, where the particle is actually one of his little lob grenades, like out of his little gun.
Maybe.
I don't know. That hero would be weird. It would be pretty interesting though. Like if you could throw a mine and displace people, like if you could bump people back to your team, like things like the Tire would be awful to play against. Like if the Rip Tire comes in.
Oh yeah, into like a CC, like a AoE CC. That'd be dope. Do you think you'll be able to like launch yourself? That's my favorite thing to do is Junkrat is like put your bomb down and then like woo over the team.
Walls.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that actually would be pretty awesome. Anna would be pretty interesting. With the release of Stukov though, it'd be kind of odd for them to release another support so close to Stukov.
Yeah, something that and we'll talk about this a little bit is that they definitely have said that they want to bring more supports into the game. So maybe that's one of the reasons that people sort of feel that Anna's high on the priority list is because in order to get the support numbers up where people think that it needs to be, they might rush through some heroes that just to get that to that point.
That makes sense.
I don't know. But yeah, like what would you do for her? Yeah, what you're saying, Hayyoo, as a support main, what?
Yeah, I was gonna say as a support main, I wouldn't complain at all if they decided to release another support. It'd be interesting to see how they incorporate Ana into the game, since she's kind of that sort of skill shot based approach to her heals.
Yeah, could you have? Isn't that crazy? Like the idea of that's like a little bit crazy. Can you have a skill shot heal as like your main heal? Like that seems.
That's your main heal.
So you could
scary. It's all scary, isn't it?
If they made it so you could A-click allies, that would be dope. You could do damage and then you could A-click allies for like a smaller heal. Like you're just sitting there autoing one hero. It'd almost be like a less effective medic beam, like where you're just sitting there auto-attacking one
Right.
hero, and then you'd have the sleep dart, and sleep dart would be so good. And if it was a point and click, it'd be stupid OP. If sleep dart was a point and click, like Illidan goes in and gets slapped, like good luck.
Yeah. Do you think that's what
Uh,
it'll be, or do you think it'll
Yeah,
be like a
I think
okay?
they'll make it at first a point and click, and then instead of changing it to a skill shot, they'll just nerf it into the ground.
there we go.
That's like so true. It's sad.
Yeah, point and click abilities are just way too strong in my opinion. Like that's what
It's like
made
polymorph.
Varian so strong. Like you have that charge, like when he had the charge stun, it's like he charges in, then he taunts you. It's literally a forehead character.
Hmm.
And then instead of maybe manipulating the hero's abilities a little bit and changing it so that the abilities aren't as strong, they just like dial it back. They're more into changing the numbers, and that I feel that's harder to get it right. Like if you keep it the same, like imagine if web wrap was a skill shot. Web wrap would be just as effective if you could hit it. Like if they changed the travel time and everything, but you had to hit a skill shot on web wrap, it then makes web wrap, you know, a much more skill
Way
based
harder.
ability, yeah, instead of
Yeah.
the point and click travel time.
Mm-hmm. That'd be interesting to think about. Because I do think you're right. They would just nerf it instead of changing it. So,
I think Garrosh
and
is
I,
gonna be a main tank though. They haven't released a main tank in a while.
It's definitely the warrior class from World of Warcraft. So, if that's the one that they go with, he was in a couple expansions, I think. It's been a while
another
since I've picked up the game, but he's going to be some sort of warrior. Maybe another multi-class, maybe not.
that's what I was just gonna say.
Who knows? But it's definitely the warrior type. Right up your alley, Grizz.
People are saying that there's that people aren't showing love to the Draenei or the Draenei, the frickin' they just keep coming out with orcs, but like the other races from Warcraft are just not seeing love. Feels bad.
I mean, there's lots of elves. There's KT. There's Valera. There's isn't Sylvanas technically an elf? Maybe, yeah. So there's a few, but yeah, I definitely like you're saying. There's a full orc team. There's no Draenei. There's one gnome. Well, there's two. Is Murden from? Yeah, Murden and
Murden's a dwarf. Hey, hey, hey.
Murden's a
Ooh,
dwarf.
are we saying
Cronies
Murden's
a
a
hey.
gnome?
Gnome and
No, 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 no,
dwarves?
no, no,
Oh
no,
my, the
dwarfs and gnomes.
disrespect.
Oh God, I'm
The
gonna get angry letters from like the dwarf
disrespect.
something. The dwarf mining guild's gonna send me an angry email. All right, well, that's cool. I'm really excited. I always think the new heroes are good. I love actually when they do those teaser videos and they literally tilt everybody off the face of the planet.
Yep.
So I can't wait for the next one and for everybody to get really angry because they don't know what hero it is. But okay, moving on, the sort of the big thing that I wanted to talk about today, and we kind of touched on it a little bit right then when we were talking about bringing more supports in the game, is there's been a lot of conversation this last week about rule changes that people are sort of starting to talk about and really want and are hoping that is implemented after the second half of the split. And the first one is something that was talked about by Bakery talked about a little bit. Jay Howe talked about it last night in the Open Cup as well, is the possibility of more bans happening at the beginning of draft. Right now we're at 2 each, and a lot of people are saying that they want it to go up to 3. So I don't know, kind of wanted to hear your guys' opinions about that.
I'll let Hayyoo go first on this one. I've been talking up a storm.
Yeah, it's interesting as the hero pool increases over time. Definitely you see like in other MOBAs out there that have hundreds of heroes or over 100 heroes that the ban pool kind of increases too. As a player, I can say that sometimes you'll see the same drafts over and over again, and maybe from a fan perspective, it can get kind of annoying. But based on the compositions that teams are running and how successful they have been with heroes, that's not really going to change. But if we can add in, there are ways that we can use the rules to kind of mix that up a little bit. And the easiest way to do that would be to maybe add in an additional ban. The timing of that could be kind of argued over to see when would be the best time. I'd say maybe 2 bans to start could be something interesting. So maybe just adding in just one more ban to the mix. as a player, I think that would be fantastic. Maybe you could ban 2 of the OPs right away, like Genji and Tassadar. But outside of that, I like the map rotation. I'd wish that the map rotation of HGC would match up to HL, just because then I would be able to practice the same maps that the pros are playing on. But we'll see. Definitely, I would be interested to see another ban. That could be the easiest way to go about it.
Do you think that, and I think you kind of said that, do you think that the opening ban should be 2 each? Like it should be 1, 1, 1, 1 before you even start to draft heroes?
I think that's a really good idea. But I mean, Grizz, you have a little more experience in like other MOBAs like Dota 2. Is there anything that like heroes could pull from with how they ban? I know the Dota 2 roster of heroes is just kind of all over the place. So
there's like 100 and I want to say like 25 now, maybe closer to 150 heroes. You got to understand that game's been out. It started with Dota All-Stars in Warcraft 3, and even Dota All-Stars pulled from the other hero clash games that were created with that map creator in Dota. So heroes, there's just a ton of them in Dota, which is why you have the snake ban as well as the snake draft. So the snake ban then goes exactly the same. So if your first pick, you have 1 first ban, and the other people get to ban 2, and then it's this snakes back and forth. With that being said, we don't have that many heroes, so 5 bans is a little steep. I do agree with the 2 bans to start. Like 3 bans would probably be a good place to start, because I believe League just implemented more bans as well.
They did. Yep.
Because you're getting too many heroes. And I agree with Hayyoo that there's a lot of times in draft where you can ban out something, but you're giving up something else that fits really well into what the enemy's trying to do. So then it turns into kind of a pick your poison for draft. There's a lot of ways that you kind of get drafted into a corner, and then what the enemy team's going to pick, but there's nothing that you can do about it because you don't have enough bans. With all of that taken into consideration, it's also on Blizzard to balance heroes correctly. Dota was as far as balance, Dota was the best game I ever played. In one of the internationals, I think 95% of the heroes were played. That's insane.
It's well balanced.
Yeah, 95% of heroes were played. There was only out of the 115 at that time, I think, there was 6 or 7 that didn't get picked the whole tournament. So when you have all these heroes that are balanced, that makes drafts even better, because then you can bring in some very interesting drafts that synergize very well. But if a hero is just I've been trying to play with Rag lately, and I still feel that he is good, but he's not close to I think where he needs to be to see a lot of picks again.
More playing.
Yeah.
Better lava wave.
Dude, just all the lava waves. Let me lava wave all the lanes.
Oh jeez, all the lanes at once. That would be OP. Yeah, it'd be... Yeah, and I think that one of a reluctancy that people have specifically said as far as the bans is that there isn't enough supports in game to do that somebody could ban 3 supports and pick 2, and it would leave a really limited selection for the other team. But I actually don't know if I feel like you would limit yourself so much at that point, and that there's, once you get past the top tier of supports, everything's sort of in the middle.
I mean, people try to support choke now with 2 bans each. Support choking is a thing. It was definitely a thing when tanks were limited. We saw it even with 2 bans each. People would tank choke people, and you just end up on some wonky tank that you'd kind of auto lose the game because you don't have a frontliner. People would snap pick ETC Muradin out of the first 2, and they would have banned it Arthas out of their first ban, and then ban another tank. So it's all gonna come with time, in my opinion. more heroes, better. When there are more heroes, it is easier to balance heroes because you have more options now. So
Mm-hmm.
it seems counterintuitive. It's like, oh, I got all these heroes. How do I balance them? Well, it's easier to put heroes on a level playing field when you have more of those heroes because X will counter Y, but Z counters X. Like it's just all these different options make the game easier, I think.
Right. And I think with HOTS specifically, like the maps really make a difference. Like if I think that having more bans and like being able to sort of limit those OP heroes would actually give like greater variety because people would have to play for the map more and you would see more like map specific comps or that's the difference between other MOBAs and HOTS is that the macro and the map, objective is like a significant part. You win or lose by that in some maps. So I think that would be something that might happen a little bit more as we get more bans is like those really map specific comps that are like highly tailored to a specific team.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of maps though, and this is something that I know is going to be like everyone's going to be like that's a really terrible idea, May, you can't do that, but I kind of just want to throw it out there is that what if they did predetermined maps like how Overwatch does or other like games where they say this is the tournament today and this is the map rotation that you're going to play. Would that ever be a thing, you think?
That'd be interesting. You could prep for specific maps then. Like you would day going in, you're like, okay, we know we're only playing these maps, so you could go over like strats and stuff. It would make teams be a lot more balanced because there's teams that just don't play certain maps. They're like, we don't like this map, we don't play this map, we ban this map. Even if we only have one ban in a tournament, that is the map we're taking. No one plays Warhead. Everybody hates Warhead. There's like one team that'll play Warhead, but it gets banned. It's first banned every time.
It's like Tempo, right? Tempo plays Forehead.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like, yeah. Because, I mean, like, that's how... Like, Overwatch is my specific example, but other games do that, too, where this is the maps. These are the ones that we're picking. Everybody knows it going in. And I think that maybe it would highlight other maps, but then I don't know if you would have to change... And this is... Hayyoo talked about this a little bit, too, is would you have to change the whole map ban process? Like, they select the maps that are eligible... basically every 6 months of what the pros are going to play. But what if that wasn't a thing? What if every map got play? It didn't matter what map it was. Would you want to see Blackheart's Bay and Garden of Terror and Haunted Mines in the pro scene?
I'll let Hayyoo take this one away.
There are some maps out there that maybe have gone through reworks over time and they've had balance changes, and from like a player perspective might seem like even with those changes they're not necessarily the most fair and balanced as opposed to those that that we see currently now in the map pool with HGC, like maps like Dragonshire, Infernal Shrines, Cursed Hollow. These are all very balanced maps, and this is why teams want those to be in the rotation because it leads to their play and their decision making being the main impact, less of a snowball effect that some maps or maps that just have not necessarily the best objectives like Haunted Mines. But I don't miss Haunted Mines at all. That one can stay where it is today. But if over time we do get more maps, there's certainly the conversation to how can we see a different set of maps in the future. Because right now the players decide on kind of a phase by phase basis. They decided back when it started, and they pretty much kept the same map pool for the second phase, so no changes to that. And I don't expect there to be any changes unless they release some new maps into the mix that are just awesome and balanced. They should probably make a Warcraft map by now. I'm surprised we don't have that yet, but I'm hoping for it.
The issue, I mean, people don't like Blackhearts. And I don't really like Blackhearts in a non-competitive setting, but there is some really interesting things you can do on Blackhearts. Like, I don't know how long ago this was, but I remember it was Cloud9 playing Aventic. This was back when they were the two NA powerhouses. And Cloud9 did something that I had never seen before. And they knew the exact timing that Illidan would be taking his own night camp. And they walked from the turn-in between the fort and the keep timed it so that the minion waves didn't see them, and they like 4-man invaded and Illidan killed him, took all his coins and his camp and left. And it's like, okay, so I think people didn't like Blackhearts because it is really snowbally. If you get the first turn in and take, some other structures, you can hit 10, then you can just camp the turn in. But in my opinion, it's very similar to how Tomb is played. Like, it's a lot of just vision control, hanging out, making sure they don't turn in. Like, it's pretty much the same. And I think not forcing teams, but like if you have a map rotation, these teams have to play these maps. You could see some pretty interesting strats come out, and it will really benefit teams that are willing to put the work in and adapt to whatever map is picked or whatever maps are picked for that tournament. Like, you got to have more strategies in the bag. Your players have to be able to play more heroes, definitely, because you really do need different drafts on these different maps.
Are we bringing back the Asmodunk? Is that what you're saying, Grizz?
I'm into it. I'm into just Asmodan all day.
Right, because like those maps like not require, but benefit from those sort of like cheeseball objective lane push heroes, I think. And like symbol Black Bark's Bay and Two of the Spider Queen are similar because like picks are huge on those maps. Like a pick can change something in an instant if you're not careful on those maps.
Yeah, I'm still suspicious about Garden. I'm like undecided. Most people hate Garden. I used to really dislike it. It's just it's weird. It's a weird map. The Garden Tear they need to just rebalance the Garden Tear. It's a weird mechanic, like on how it works.
I just think it happens so often too. Like, you can't do anything in that map because I feel like you're always just like running around collecting seeds.
That's true. You would have to be very I would say like sharp on your picks and get kills as those are spawning.
Yeah, the timing on it is huge, right? And get camps then so that they can push during those phases, and yeah. Another change that's seen a little bit of talk about this, and I think it's always something that gets talked about, is roster changes in HGC. Do you think that those should be able to happen a little bit more on the fly in the middle of the season? Do you think that it's kind of nice how they have it now, where they kind of like want people to wait and make those changes near the end? I get it because I feel like it creates a little bit of stability, and because there's so many, not so much anymore, but there was so many teams it was just teams, right? And they were sort of in charge of managing themselves. It probably created a little bit more of a stable environment that they had to follow this structure to keep them together longer. But as we get more teams that are coming in and there's a little bit more management and a little bit more organization, do you think that it'll change where teams might be making roster swaps in the middle of the season or a split?
If the game grows to its potential, I think we'll see 6-7-man rosters where you'll have teams subbing people in if someone else isn't performing or if someone's sick. Like, you see these subs coming in, but I think if the game gets bigger, like, I know there's like Korean teams in LoL that have 10-man, they legitimately have 10-man rosters. And like when they're playing certain matchups or they know they're going to draft something, they will sub people in game to game too. Like a 5-game series, you could see essentially a different team every single game.
That would be interesting.
10-man roster.
It's kind of like it's a natural thing. You see it in traditional sports. The subbing process, obviously football, subbing in left and right, just because it's crazy tough. Short high impact plays that just tire people out. But soccer, you have those 3 subs that you can do throughout your 90-minute period. Just seems like a really natural thing that you can add to the mix into any esport. Some that are really big at the moment, 10-man roster in League of Legends is crazy, because that's 10 players that you got to take care of in some capacity. But as Here's the Storm grows, and it's growing like crazy this year, it's awesome to see, and I hope it keeps up this way. But definitely you could see teams having kind of like an official sub or like a 6-person on the roster, just so life happens. So sometimes you got to fill a spot, or if you need to make a change and let someone take a break, catch up on their play. It's just something that I think will happen soon. Hopefully soon.
That brings up a really really good point, and um, that would add, actually, in my opinion, another position to heroes, which would be the six man, and that would be like you
Ooh.
have to play like your role is to play everything. Like maybe you specialize more in a certain area, but it's someone that can literally play every single role at a level needed to squeeze out a win. Like if you're one of these top tier teams, you can fill that well enough to to squeeze out that win. Your team might not dominate like they normally do, but it'll get you through a series. And I think something that would help with this is treating it more like traditional sports, in the sense where like players are signed by contracts, but the
Hmm.
contract, like, it's the capitalism approach. It's like essentially get what you're worth. Like if you're a star player, why, like, life's not fair. This is what it's going to break down to. If you're better than other people,
Yeah.
you're getting the same money. I get that it's a very team-based game, but
Hmm.
it's like then you could have those subs and you like have a league minimum, and then it turns into this like, okay, your subs probably going to make the league minimum unless you get a situation in where you want to sub in a lot. And then it's like with the Lakers when they had Lamar Odom, they had an award, and it's called the six man of the year. So you're a sub that comes in pretty often and can perform really well. So then you get like, I feel like the more official everything gets, the faster it grows, because people are like, damn, this is run really well. Like these players all, and it comes down to the players as well, like carrying yourself well, like all these things. That's what makes it grow.
Hmm.
Um, so maybe if orgs more come in and are the orgs looking to more take over a bit, that's something that they would like look into doing, is coming in and like having the different contracts and treating these players like professionals, which they are. Like this is they're what they're doing for money, and they should treat it as such.
Yeah, I agree actually completely. I like the idea of like a six man and a Joe Flex.
Mm-hmm.
um it would take like a lot of back end management, because like, are you going to put that in the budget as far as like what the team gets per split? Is it something that you like encourage the teams to do? I'm sure it gets all really complicated, but like you're saying, hopefully as things like stabilize and heroes like gets fully like, like we're chugging along right now, but as soon as we like really really get the groove of what we're doing and everything gets streamlined, it's going to be really interesting to see like those sort of things that may get implemented at some point. um the last thing that I kind of want to talk to you about is the number of lands and clashes. I think
Mm-hmm.
everybody wants more lands and clashes, right? Like as like a
Love lands.
fan.
Gotta love them lands. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, as an amateur player right now too,
Hmm.
I miss things like Heroes Rising, like those lands where it's like there's a few spots open, and you can battle
Hmm.
your way into those spots, and then as an amateur player, you'll get to go play a land. Like there's nothing better. There's no better experience. Plus, it's kind of what
Right.
Bloodlust is obviously doing it online, but they're trying to give amateur teams the ability to play against pro teams. And
Hmm.
if you do it on a LAN in like a best or in a double a limb, like even if you lose every game being that AM team, at least you get like a couple games on stage and you get that experience and you know what it's like and you're seeing how they play on LAN.
Yeah.
I feel like that experience is invaluable.
It's just fun and exciting as a player to see opportunities to be able to go on site, play on a stage, whether or not there's a crowd, if it's just a small LAN or a small event. Those are opportunities that really just that's something that I look forward to the most. Obviously, I have ambitions to be a pro player, so the more LAN events that we have, the more ambitious I am to work my hardest to try and have the opportunities to play at those. Obviously, we don't have as many as last year, and that's just due to the fact of the changes for HGC. We still have the clashes halfway between, and then we had the mid-season brawl just a few months ago. So these are really good events, but obviously it's a little less. And from the amateur perspective, we're purely online. But yeah, really love what Bloodlust is doing and Heroes Hype, just giving amateur events, big tournaments like that with payouts and prize pools. But yeah, LANs are so much fun. Let's be real.
Yeah, and I think that there's like this like sort of hard spot that amateur people get stuck in, which is pro teams and pro orgs want like LAN experience. They want you to say like, oh, I've been to LAN, but if you can't ever get that experience, then like you can't ever get it. You know what I mean? Like you're kind of in a catch-22 because the opportunities aren't there. It's really hard to get that opportunity, but it's something that so many people say is needed in order to like have a legitimate shot or somebody to take a look at you as far as joining a team. So it'd be interesting if there was a way to sort of like, yeah, like work in like an amateur LAN, like if they were able to do Crucible as a LAN, or just something. Crucible, I think, would be like a really, really cool LAN that would have like a lot of community people that would be interested in it. Plus, it's an opportunity for like them to invite orgs and be like, look, like these may be the next teams that are getting in. Like, here's your first look at them. Like, this is what they're going to do in the scene. And so like that may be like a really cool opportunity that they could give a lot of the amateur players so that they get that experience underneath their belt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So, anything else with the rules change, or do you think that we covered it all?
I think we got it all.
Awesome. We'll just touch on amateur roundup stuff. It's kind of like I have here open week from hell. There was an open tournament yesterday and today. We have the makeup tournament that happens Wednesday. Stukov will be live for that tournament. So that's exciting. It's going to be the first time that we see Stukov in a tournament setting. So that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Are we going to see that from you guys? No spoilers, but is Stukov something that you guys have been practicing?
Well, see, the thing is, they announced Monday that Stukov will be available on the bonus cup. Mm-hmm. But teams weren't prepping for that in mind because the bonus cup, since we didn't know Stukov was available, I'm speaking for my team, and I think other teams are probably in a similar place. We weren't drafting Stukov. Like, Stukov was just banned. You couldn't pick him.
Right.
So, I've been playing a lot of Stukov. Pretty much that's all I do on stream is play Stukov games. And anytime I'm playing HL, if he's available, I'm taking him. So I've been putting in a lot of games. He's going to be a very powerful hero. He's probably going to be highly contested. I would expect to see him first banned or first picked. Oh, wow. Just because he does have so much control. His healing is amazing. Mm-hmm. He can keep your team alive through pretty much any situation. Put him in a double support. He even goes to town even further. But he's a really well-designed hero. He's the best support Blizzard has released in Heroes of the Storm. And honestly, if that is the type of hero that they're going to keep releasing, keeps me excited, at least as a support main. Cool. But I would expect him to be very, very highly contested on Wednesday.
We have any and all heroes up our sleeve.
Ooh. So watch out, teams. You can ban whatever you want. It doesn't matter.
Hey, if there's a deep run going on, you might see some spicy stuff come out. Let's just leave it at that.
We love spicy.
I mean, you saw the Chen come out. You don't know what we're
yeah. Mm-hmm. Throws people off their game, those heroes, I think, that are like non-traditional meta. And it's fun to watch. There was a tiebreaker on Sunday for the Heroes Hype Finals. The sort of 8th place team that gets invited was tie, and we have tons of tiebreaker procedures as far as points, but there was no way to figure out which of these teams was going to be invited to the final. So they actually did a tiebreaker on Sunday, and 7th Empire beat Bamboozled in a 2-0. So 7th Empire will be the final team that will be joining the Heroes Hype Finals next week on Wednesday. So everyone make sure that they tune into that. And the last sort of amateur thing that happens is this weekend is the Bloodlust Finals weekend. So it's the top amateur teams that qualified for that, and the pro teams are going to be playing each other. And that's like a big event. It's going to be the last sort of event as we go into the Clash. Mm-hmm. So pretty exciting. All right. So that's basically it for the show tonight. We are going to actually, the last thing is there is this new segment that we're going to be doing every week, which is called the Hype Squad Streamer of the Week. If you haven't checked out the Heroes Hype Squad, it is the Heroes Hype stream team. There's so many great streamers on there, no matter what you like to do in HOTS, whether you're competitive and like Hero League, or you like variety and just like fun and, you know, goofing around. There is a Heroes Hype Squad streamer for you. And make sure you check out the calendar. It's on the Heroes Hype website. But our Hype Squad streamer of this week is none other than Hayyoo himself. Hooray!
He's boosted.
He's boosted. So, Hayyoo, if somebody wanted to come watch your stream, what do you think are like sort of the pillars of your stream?
So, just started streaming recently. You know, for me, Grizz is dying because he knows I'm too boosted. You know, for me, I'm really focused on the support heroes. I like to be pretty interactive and very informative. So if you want to come on, hop on. We're always talking about the support heroes. I like to go over talent builds. I'm actually working on putting together guides that can walk you through how to play some of the support heroes.
Nice.
So I'm looking to have those up on Heroes Hearth, which is a super awesome community tool. A lot of pro players have their guides. Bakery is pretty active on there. But I'm looking to write some up, really just focused on the support main that's out there that's trying to climb the ladder and just looking to really maximize their potential heroes. So, you know, if you're interested in having a good time, I always got some good music. It's Hayyoo DJ. For some reason, Hayyoo was taken, but I used to DJ and still can if needed. We'll be listening to some pretty chill tunes. I've been into Odessa lately.
Nice.
But I always got some good music bumping in the background too while we climb the ladder.
Cool.
You might get a Picard cameo as well.
Picard does like to make several appearances throughout.
He just likes to like announce himself like, hi, I'm here, just checking things over.
I came here for the pug and instead I got Hayyoo. But hey, if you want to hop on, check out Picard. He's pretty active too.
Awesome. So when's the next time that you are streaming so people can check you out?
So this week is a little crazy just because I'm moving out.
Yeah.
Looking to have a stream up tomorrow. Typically stream from 2 to 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. But we'll be looking to adjust that schedule once I get settled out in California. Looking to do more of like a 6 to 8 hour type of schedule. So more to come, but going ham. More to come on that. But right now, just you can usually catch me, follow me on Twitter. That's when I post whenever I go live. It's just Hayyoo_HOTS. You catch me out tomorrow, 2 to 5. We'll be on there.
Cool. And cheer them on also in the open on Wednesday. Make sure that you do that. Grizz, where can people find you?
Right below. Grizz_GG on both Twitch and Twitter. I'll try to start streaming a little bit. Maybe give the people a couple hours, but I've been
some salt. We're salt deficient.
No, I've been keeping it chill lately. I'm just gonna
keeping it classy.
I've just been keeping it way too chill.
I am the toxic one now.
Back to just having some laughs and playing some Hero League. Mostly, I might be doing quick matches again. Get some of the squad in there and start doing some QMs.
Some madness. All right. Well, you can find Heroes Hype Live on most Tuesdays at 4 PDT. Next week is the pre-show, so we won't be. I know I said this last week, and I'm a giant tease, and now you all think that I'm a liar. But I swear, next week on Wednesday, we will be the pre-show. We'll have interviews. I believe Hayyoo has an interview that we'll be showing and talking about, and we'll be sort of getting everybody all hype and excited for the finals, which is August 2nd. So make sure that you tune in for that. Make sure that you follow the Twitch here so you are notified when we go live, and then also so you know what's going on. We have tons of streamers. We're always hosting them, so there's always great Heroes of the Storm action on the Heroes Hype Twitch page. If you miss the live recording of this show or anything else, make sure that you subscribe on YouTube so you can get your notifications there. Also, when things go live, we post everything up there. And then make sure for all your Heroes of the Storm amateur news, you go and check out the heroeshype.com website. There's lots of recaps for all the tournaments that happen for amateurs, news on basic heroes announcements, and you can always keep up to date with the Heroes Type Squad, and everything else that we're doing. That I think is everything for the show, and we're gonna leave you this week with a pretty funny video. It is called
How to Steal a Boss.
How to Steal a Boss, and we hope that you enjoy
Did you grab
it.
This one? Who grabbed this one?
I grabbed it off of you. I found it on Reddit, and I love like music spoofs where they like take a song and like turn it into something esports related. So definitely make sure you watch this. I will link it in the chat for anybody who's watching the show. But thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be here next week, and have a great night, everybody.
Are we playing it as the outro? We don't need the link. You can watch this right now.
I'll watch it right now, then.
If you need the link, you got the link, but you can watch this right now. Guys, we're heading out. Thank you for joining us. Have a good rest of the night.